get this year started off right. So, as usual, first and foremost, welcome back, fan duelers. To all my loyal players on the blue site. Um, Welcome to the 2023 season. We're literally under a month away. It was just about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, DraftKings dropped theirs. It was about a week ago that FanDuel dropped their pricing for the Week 1 slate. And this will be part one of a breakdown. No need to break down the full slate. I mean, a lot of stuff can still happen. Some rookies and some guys could, shoot their way up the depth chart. Obviously news that's not available to me now. I'm literally recording this the night of the end of preseason week 1. So if we get any news between now and when I record part 2, and most likely part 2 would most likely go up before the start of week 2 preseason, then we should go in from there. But we will start part 1 with just the group that you could normally stack. Not every running back is stackable with the quarterback, so we'll be going through the quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends today. Part 2 would be mostly any upcoming preseason news that happens between now and the next time part 2 gets recorded, and it'll be running backs, defenses, and pretty much preseason news. So let's get the 2023 week 1 slate going. We will start off with quarterback. What I feel like all the top plays. Last year I kind of did like a rundown of all the people there. This year I'm going to kind of stick with, a majority of the group of each position, but I will go over what I feel are as of right now, because once again, also besides preseason cuts and all that other kind of stuff, I mean, hey, things happen, people get hurt, teams have already sustained injuries. The Broncos have a pretty beaten up wide receiver core. Well, their stars are there, but they've lost 2 pieces of they're pretty much hampered with 2 pieces of depth. Pretty much gone for the season. We'll get into that when we get to the wide receiver part after the quarterbacks. And things could just happen or whatever. So like I said, I don't want to go too in depth. Kind of would make a lot of information irrelevant. But hey, even information that I give you here could be irrelevant, because some of these guys could pull a hammy and something could just happen. Of course, we don't want that to happen. Health comes first. Fantasy is just a game. We're just looking to see, check out some of these early, good plays, whatever. So first and foremost, it's the same thing every year. Pricing is pretty soft. You have a couple of people that are, that'll be priced up, but overall, the price is pretty soft. There are a lot of combinations that you can come up with, and there's a lot of people that are just shockingly low. Yes, teams have transitioned from QBs have a few QBs have moved, a few QBs have retired. So of course, it downgrades probably some of the wide receivers in that case, but pricing is pretty soft. There was a lot of I still haven't, completed my notes on what I wanted to talk about with the running backs and especially the running backs. But man, the pricing is so soft with some of these wide receivers. It's kind of ridiculous. Some of these guys are really underpriced for what we know of their talent level. So, but enough of that. Let's get right into the slate. Highest quarterback on the slate is Jalen Hurts, 9,000. He's 100 above Lamar Jackson. But to me, the chalky chalk play has to be it will have to be Lamar. Yes, he's pretty expensive, but he's going against a Houston defense that really didn't improve. That team is still a growing project. Plus, not only is the defense that he's going against, the Baltimore defense will be going against more than likely C.J. Stroud, a rookie QB. One thing Ravens will stay consistent over the past decade, maybe decade and a half, is pretty much, or the last 2 decades, the Baltimore defense are going to throw the kitchen sink at this rookie, which means possible turnovers, which means in fantasy, possible turnovers means more opportunity for Lamar to most likely even play on the shorter field. Lamar being at 89 to me is the number 1 chalk in the QB slate. I hear other people, not a lot of people are really talking about the FanDuel slate. People already dropped videos of the DraftKings one. A lot of people say because Justin Fields, and with his new weapons and going against a slightly weaker. I mean, I don't think Green Bay is going to end up like the worst team in the league, but it's a slightly weaker Green Bay team that's also going to have a unproven young quarterback coming in there. The Bears will be at home, and most importantly, Justin Fields is a full 700 and 600 under Hurts and Jackson, so you do save some money there. He'll probably be the most popular pick, but because of the matchup, I mean, it's hands down Lamar. They might not have the biggest total, but the biggest spread of Week 1 is the Ravens, and if I remember properly, the last I checked, the Ravens were about, if I remember, almost 10.5 point favorites, if I'm not mistaken. Like, from what I remember, they were about 10.5. No, minus 9.5. And Ravens money line is about. Ravens money line is about I think minus 400 last I checked. So you're not gonna get much value there, not at all. So minus 450. So yeah, that game is supposed to be ugly. So it should be a lot of defensive touchdowns. I mean, a lot of opportunity for defensive touchdowns, but a lot of opportunity for Lamar to, I don't know, get the 10, 11 rushes, get that touchdown, and probably throw 2 or 3, especially with new addition Odell Beckham, along with Mark Andrews and Rashad Bateman coming back from last year. We'll move on from Lamar, and like I said, we'll go back to Fields. Fields is looking to improve upon. He was the hottest quarterback going down the stretch, I think, for the last 4 or 5 weeks with his fantasy performances. This is another matchup where, it's a division rivalry, so anything can happen in a division rivalry. Fields definitely and hey, him, Lamar, Hurts, the top 3 guys, capable passers. Obviously, just Fields still has to improve in that, but they gave him the weapons to improve. The top 3 guys, what's the one thing they have all in common? They all can run that ball. So the ceiling is just a little higher than everybody else on the slate. And speaking of the slate, most importantly, obviously because of the Thursday night, the Sunday night, and the Monday night game, there's no Bills, no Jets, no Giants, no Cowboys, no Lions, and no as I call the Holy Trinity. But now it's Mahomes, Kelsey, and whoever else Mahomes decided to go to. Because now, ever since Tyreek Hill, that secondary person literally could be anybody. It could be Sky Moore. Last year, it could have been Juju Smith-Schuster, who had McCole Hardman. I mean, it could be anybody. The way they spread the ball, you just don't know. But you can damn sure believe that it'll be Mahomes, Kelsey, and then depending on the matchup, who gets the opportunity. But those guys aren't on the slate, so that's why I have the Ravens as number 1. Fields, my number 2 play, Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is just going to come off. He has a new coach, new system, but still the same players. He still has Eckler. He still has Williams. He still has Keenan Allen, and he's still going against. Now, I do believe in that defensive coordinator, Brian Flores. To me, he's a solid coach. I think he can make mediocre players better, but that's still. I mean, you still need the talent, and right now, Minnesota's defense does not have that. Once again, it's another good matchup with another quarterback starting at home. Justin Herbert at 81. They should pretty much shred that Minnesota defense, especially at home. Everybody's real hyped to see this guy. He's probably the most. Everybody wants him to take that extra leap and get ready to put him in a tier, maybe tier 2. Tier 1, depending on how he does. You got Trevor Lawrence at Indy. Indy pretty much seems like the organization is kind of in shambles, but we'll see if they can play it out. Indy still has a solid offensive line that can help control the ball. Defense is okay. I would say below average front 7 with a pretty decent secondary. But Trevor Lawrence does have some new weapons, and everybody's expecting him to take that leap and continue his ascension from last year. 8,000 even, but he's the first quarterback that I kind of like on the road. We'll go down a little bit, and yes, even though not a lot of people are a fan of him, the man can put up fantasy numbers, and the man that I like is, Kirk Cousins. He's going against a downgrading Tampa Bay defense. They're no longer in the Super Bowl chase. So right now, over the course of the season. Yes, they still have some stars on offense, but Kirk Cousins is not going against the offense. He'll be going against that Tampa Bay defense. So they're pretty much shedding salary. And to me, that Tampa Bay team, there's two teams that a lot of people think that are going to sink from what they were in previous years. It's Tampa Bay and it's Arizona. Arizona got their own issues, plus Kyler Murray's injury. Kyler Murray's probably not going to be available until like after week 8. Tampa Bay, Minnesota, the Minnesota Tampa Bay's defense should be still decent, but a lot of those high-priced veterans and aging veterans, they kind of let them go. But he still has probably the best fantasy player right now in the game to just target. And once again, Minnesota at home, Kirk Cousins will be looking for Justin Jefferson, who, since I'm going to talk about the wide receiver, Justin Jefferson is the highest player on the slate at 9,500. But when I talk about the value that's on the slate, you can see why somebody like Justin Jefferson and maybe even a high-priced quarterback, which, will be easy to fit, because there's a lot of wide receivers that kind of open my eyes, and I'm like, wow, they came up with some week 1 soft pricing. But the thing with week 1 is too, they have a lot of entries, and it doesn't get like this from here on out. Sometimes pricing gets lazy, but pricing does get adjusted according to performance. But they're trying to get new players in on top of that too. So, some people just come like, oh, this is how you put a salary and team together. Like, oh yeah, it's gonna be like that. But once you get to like week 2 and 3, and you start understanding, at least by week 4, like what these teams look like, what they're gonna be, and what some of these players are gonna like trend to, then that's when the pricing gets tough. Because remember, last year FanDuel started doing it last year, where the year before there was sometimes some free squares, and now backup running backs, especially the backup running back, they did not play that. There were barely any weeks where backup running backs were like below 6,000. They were pricing them up in the low 6s. Still affordable, but they weren't free squares like years where Alexander Madison behind Dalvin Cook was like 57, 54, and he was like 38 to 48% in your contests and stuff like that. So under Kirk Cousins, will continue to Russell Wilson. Hey man, me even being a Bronco fan, all those years that you saw him with Drew Brees, the system that he implements, Sean Payton is going to have this guy get that ball out of his hand as quick as possible, which is why a lot of people expect Judy and Sutton to have an amazing year, especially Russell Wilson. Here's the good thing about Russell Wilson. He wants a little bit of that Seattle Russell. He has come out and said straight up he wants Russell Wilson to run the ball a little more. So let's actually bring him up a tier for this week. Bad defense against home, most importantly. Home opener at Mile High against Las Vegas. Suspect defense, but once again, division rivalry. You're looking at Russell. So, with Sean Payton, you're looking at a higher paced offense and whatnot. They're supposed to be getting Javonte Williams back, but I don't think they're going to throw the whole load on him like the Jets with Brees Hall. They have a young, strong running back. They know that's in their immediate and even long-term plan as a running back. That those are two running backs that look to be with their team 5-6 years, health permitting. But Russell Wilson will be catching them short. Maybe some hook routes like how Drew Brees used to do to Michael Thomas. I can see that same thing with Cortland Sutton. It really is going to, and he already looked good in the preseason with him and Judy hooking up early. So Russell Wilson at 7,300, he's looking like a really good pick for week 1. As we keep going down, I do like this matchup because, like I said, this is a team that, with their quarterback situation, and they've always had a solid defense. Washington Redskins will be at home against Arizona. No Kyler Murray, that ball probably won't be able to move like that, which means there's going to be a lot of cases where if he does win it out, right now it's looking like Sam Howell is gonna take the QB position right now. He looked pretty good in his debut. He went 9-12 for 77 yards and a touchdown against the Browns. Also had a couple of scrambles. So, but it really looks like this second-year QB is going to have the job. He's getting a lot of praise in practice, and nice way to start off the preseason to show that he can get the job done. That Arizona defense is, it's below average, and it's going to be even slightly worse this year. So I really think Sam Howell, he's in a good position at 7,100. Yes, Washington does not blow you away with their weapons, but they do have some weapons. Scary Terry, Johan Dotson, against Arizona at home. Most importantly, they have the ability to he has the ability to be probably a low owned, very cheap stack, but can have some production. So don't forget about that kid, Sam Howell, Washington. Derek Carr in a new home, New Orleans. He has now New Orleans. Here's the reason why I don't want to go through the whole thing with the entire slate. A lot of stuff going on, so we got to see who's going to be the running back there. There's still rumors of Kareem Hunt still visiting and thinking about going to the Saints. But Derek Carr is definitely going to have two great weapons. I understand he leaves his boy Devontae Adams, but guess what? He's going to Michael Thomas, who's been the healthiest in the past probably 2.5 years. Chris Olave, who had a solid season last year, and a solid tight end core. Derek Carr definitely looks good week one against, once again, a very horrid secondary. Tennessee front seven is great. One of the best front sevens in the league. But I don't think that back four, or if they go in a nickel package, the back five really does anything to even slow Derek Carr down. Derek Carr doesn't get much respect, but like I said, we're here for the fantasy points, and to have a big, tall target that's perfectly healthy, and Michael Thomas, who's somebody that I've talked up last year, then the injury started hurting him again, and then Chris Olave that showed up last year. Derek Carr is looking like a nice way to start a stack or a mini stack at 7,000. And then as we keep going down, here's where I'm talking about GPP. Okay, so obviously, there's a QB battle. You got Anthony Richardson against Gardner Minshew. Like I said, they're two home quarterbacks, but you got to see who these guys are going to be able to throw to. But either or, who knows. But the main two things that I want, or at least I'm talking about, would be Desmond Ridder at home against a, solid Carolina defense. Desmond Ridder, he has, they're looking to hope him and Kyle Pitts to get up on that next level. They have a tremendous amount of depth at running back, so that will be able to take the pressure off. Desmond Ridder at home is a GPP play, and I have to say it, whoever the Tampa Bay starter ends up. So right now, when it comes to Tampa Bay, you're literally looking at Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask. I think Walford is most likely looking, he's automatically going to be the third, or he could possibly get cut. Because teams really do carry three quarterbacks, but when it comes to the starter, I don't think he's in the conversation. I think Walford is just there to, play in relief, and he just needs to just be there in case one of these guys get hurt, so he could be the backup. I think Walford was recently he was the Rams backup last year, but literally it's Kyle Trask, Baker Mayfield. Nothing to get excited about with either guy, but even though they lost a lot of guys, like I said, the free agency contracts, they're shedding contracts, shedding money, shedding some ageless players. Either one of these two quarterbacks still have the combination of Mike Evans and Chris Godwin to throw to. Baker Mayfield is 6,300. Kyle Trask is 6,200. If you dare do it, mini stack or double stack, let's say Baker Mayfield, obviously, he has more starting experience. So let's say you do go Baker Mayfield, and it's against not the best defense, even though they're at home. I like the way Minnesota's defense played better at home. They have helped me. I remember one week they were like 34, 3,500, even though they're at home. That defense wasn't that good, but a defense like that can definitely up their energy and up their stats and up their potential being at home. But if you take Baker Mayfield, and we'll go right into it's a segue right now. We'll go right into the wide receivers. Baker Mayfield at 6,300. Godwin is 68 and Evans is 65. That is a very cheap and affordable stack. Like, you're literally adding all that together is like 19 something. So like just over $19,000. You still got a lot of cap left. So, and remember 63 and then 68 and 65. When you start your lineup and you have all 60,000 available, your average per player is already 6,066. So you're definitely looking at, it's just something that makes sense. Like, money-wise, whatever. You could still go big at running back, maybe get yourself a decent defense, and still go cheap at tight end. But, just giving y'all, money options and what the case would be. But like I said, we'll go to wide receiver. Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, Jamal Chase, Devontae Adams. They're the top five, but like I said, I love I love Justin Jefferson. 9-5 against a weakening Tampa Bay defense. He commands the most volume, gets the most volume out of all wide receivers. Like, you can't go wrong with him. It's just the fact that he's 95. We'll just talk. I'm not really talking about most of these guys here, but Cooper Kupp 93, Tyreek Hill's 88, Jamar Chase 85, and Devontae Adams is 82. So we just got to see how that goes. But the next person that I really want to talk to or talk about will be. I want to drop down a little bit and talk about Keenan Allen at 8,000 plus his partner Mike Williams at 71 versus Miami. Miami made a big move trying to get Jalen Ramsey, trying to get another solid quarterback to go against good tandems in the AFC. But with Jalen Ramsey's I think what was an injury or a procedure that he had that's gonna knock him out for a bit. That definitely puts a dent in the defensive production of the Dolphins, because the Dolphins were really hoping that excuse me, that Jalen Ramsey could solidify that secondary, and with the ability to solidify the secondary, he's really trying. They really have to now make up for. They really have to make up for the ability to compensate for the rookie and the young free safeties there, because without that, Xavier Howard and free safety Javon Holland pretty much will most likely be on one side, and the guy that they picked up, I mean, come on, man, this guy is still in the league. I can't believe it. I really can't believe the guy in the league that they have is Eli Apple. We've seen this guy get burned. So they really, I like Keenan Allen going deep, going slants. Mike Williams, big monster, going deep. I like the matchup and the situation just for week one. With that kind of combination, and you're literally weak on one side on the defensive end, that's why it corresponds with having somebody like Justin Herbert. Okay, sorry about that little quick thing. Had to take care of something right quick. Sorry for the awkward pause, but we'll get back to the wide receiver talk real quick. Once again, I apologize for the quick pause in the vid. Just had to take care of the family real quick. That's why I made sure I asked, like, hey, you need something right before the vid started. I like to go straight through. Very rare will I have to take the time to, edit cuts or whatever. But the family's hungry, gotta take care of the family. Now, let's go to the next squad. And I'll keep doing it in pairs just in case you want to stack. I know I didn't bring up Geno Smith, but the Rams are the same way as the the Rams are kind of like the same thing as in the same. I think the defenses are still in the same situation as like a Tampa Bay. Like, you still might have a couple guys at linebacker position, might still have a couple guys on the defensive line, but they lost so much in the defensive backfield that another mini stack or a double stack can be DK Metcalf, at 77, and then you got to lock it down at 68 against the Rams. And once again at home, Seattle's definitely one of those teams. Like, most teams play better at home than on the road, but Seattle's one of those teams with the whole 12th man and everything. And obviously with the concerns that they already have on injury with the running backs, they might lean on Geno to throw the ball just a little bit more. So that's a little upside play right there. So like I said, that's another one of those teams. Tampa Bay, Arizona, with declining defenses and they're in transition, you might want to take advantage of a Seattle stack or maybe even a double stack. Lock and get in one deep. Every now and then, DK is used as a deep threat, but Lock is the main deep threat, while DK is more the mid to long range in a way possession, because he runs a lot of deep slants, hooks, and everything close to the first down sticks. So home against the Rams, definitely a good spot. Let's go to my probably one of my favorite tandems to watch and probably monitor this year, with a finally healthy Michael Thomas, because as you saw last year, I think it was by episode 2, episode 3, Michael Thomas was already dealing with that damn ankle during preseason, and we didn't even get to the first week lockout, if I remember properly. So Olave is 70, 73. Thomas is in an even 6,000. Derek Carr being as cheap as he is, that is a sneaky low pick. As you hear the prices from these guys are amazingly cheap. Amazingly cheap. These guys, there's a lot of stuff that you can do and get creative and have like very stud type lineups. So once again, amazing front seven, but that back four, five, whatever the formation is horrible. A healthy and strong and physical Michael Thomas with the up and coming Chris Olave, great tandem. I really think that's a game that Derek Carr should be able to accurately hit both of his receivers, whether he's going deep, long, or across the middle. Another guy that I want to talk about, like I said, who might have a chance. Like I said, once again, Washington not the most explosive offense, but he demands the ball because he's literally one of the best skilled wide receivers in the league. Scary Terry McLaurin, 6,900 at home. As you can see, that's the theme here. A lot of these guys that I do like are at home, so you're looking at a very opportunistic opportunity for Terry to probably rack up anywhere from 6 to 7 to up to like 10 to 11 catches, which is a possibility for him. Of course, like I said, it also depends on his young QB. So we'll just have to wait and see what the possibilities are with him. Along with Scary Terry, I have another group that we could also go to. Judy and Son. Jerry Judy, 6,700. That's amazingly cheap. Jerry Judy is above 7K wide receiver, especially the way he ended last year. Broncos year wasn't great, but the way him and Wilson started getting it, and I think they started clicking after their London game, honestly. I mean, it was on a roll towards the end of the season, but they started clicking over the London game victory over Jacksonville last year. Sutton coming off. Sutton is 1 year off the ACL. We've seen it many times, even back in the Wes Welker days. I remember he did a fine job, but he just wasn't 100%. Didn't have the cut speed and everything like that. Sutton off the ACL injury, 5,900, which is why that's a very good cheap stack. Another cheap stack that I was talking about from before. Again, like I said, I started with the combination of Godwin and Evans, 68 and 65. The one price that had me opening my eyes, I'm going all over it, but like I said, I'm not doing what I did last year, just going down the list and talking about every other player. Just what I feel right now are the best plays. Y'all can say what you want, but he's still in the prime of his career. Odell Beckham is 5,700. Yes, he hasn't played in a long time, but that body is ready, and he's coming there with something to prove, and he's the depth. He's the weapon that they need to put that offense over the top. But the thing about the Ravens is, and the same thing with Beckham, the last 2-3 years when he was active, can't say last 2-3 years because he didn't play. Baltimore always battles injuries. That's a special team if they can all stay healthy. I understand people talk about the Chiefs, and I think people fall in love with the Bills. We all do. But if the Ravens are healthy, they can beat both of those teams in the playoffs in a one-game situation. I'm sorry. Because their defense travels. And they always have a solid core running back. And then you have Lamar Jackson, the equalizer. I mean, if Baltimore is healthy, Baltimore is set to take it back to new heights. At a $5,700 Beckham, I'm telling you, this is my call. This is my call for week 1. Get on Odell Beckham before he gets too high. Now, if he has a great week 1, they're not going to jump Beckham from 57 to like 7,000. They don't jump it like that. The algorithm doesn't work like that. But if he has a great week, best believe he'll be in the high 6s. He's not just going to jump to like 62. But he won't get to like 7,000 that fast. But I honestly feel like he's going to be a 7K receiver at least by week 3. I'm telling you, I think he's going to ascend that quick. If not, at least by the end of September. Yeah, end of September would be week 3. So at least by week 3, I see him at least being the 7K. I honestly feel that way. Beckham is going to put them over the top. Another guy that you got to look forward to, talented. He's coming back with something to prove. Calvin Ridley's an even 7K, and he's in a better QB position than what he was before he left. He has Trevor Lawrence throwing to him. At Indianapolis, he's somebody else. Like those two guys, I'm really looking to see how they come out in week 1. With something to prove, those guys. And then, of course, you got DJ Moore going to Chicago, 63. I mean, there's just a lot of soft pricing. But the thing that the most shocking thing was the Beckham thing. I think Beckham's at least. I mean, with the down year he had, they still got Adam Thielen at 6,000. We literally saw like Adam Thielen, good veteran presence, but he's literally aging before our eyes or whatever. He definitely did slow down or whatever. Here's the wide receivers that are like just above. I'm sorry, but some of these guys should not be above Odell Beckham. I understand he didn't play last year, however the FanDuel algorithm goes. But whether if you feel or agree with how I am with Odell Beckham or not, I'm not gonna go way high, but I'm gonna start with the 6,300s or whatever, where I'm on screen. And not only am I gonna say the name, but I'm gonna say the matchup of some people that shouldn't be. I feel this week, not saying that they're better wide receiver. Remember, this is fantasy, price point with salary. Guys who I think should not be above Odell Beckham. I went above 63. I even started at 64. Deontay Johnson at home against a tough San Francisco defense should not be above Odell Beckham. Christian Watson at Chicago should not be above Odell Beckham. Him and Drake London are both 62 and 61. Johan Dotson shouldn't be above Odell Beckham. I don't think Rashad Bateman, who's going to be on the opposite side, should be 61. Shouldn't be over Beckham. Adam Thielen's at 6,000, so that's 300 more than Beckham. Darnell Mooney, Donovan People-Jones. You got Juju Smith-Schuster going against New England, 58. Nico Collins, 58. George Pickens, 58. Jacoby Myers, 57. Elijah Moore in Cleveland, and then it's Odell Beckham. I'm sorry, but just off name alone and knowing the kind of talent, and he's had a year off, he should be right there. He should be with the soft price, and he should be right there, or maybe even above Mike Evans at 65. I'm sorry, that's just me. Pricing, yes, is normally soft at the beginning, and then it gets adjusted to performance. But man, I think you should really take advantage of that. I'm sorry. To me, I understand cash games might be a little different. There might be some, like I said, with some cuts. We still don't know where Dalvin Cook's going to be. We still don't know Kareem Hunt. We don't know who's going to be the starting running back with Kamara gone, stuff like that. By the time the depth chart comes, there's a lot of stuff that can open up value. But right now, when it comes to the wide receivers and that matchup, and they have the biggest spread. Market to me, the initial stack that I think of, and I did do a mock lineup. It would definitely be Lamar, and then I'm picking Beckham. I understand you can get Bateman, but I'm picking Beckham, and then I'm going Andrews. I would do it that way. Andrews along with the targets. He's gonna get the goal line look. So I'm sorry, that's just where I'm going. But like I said, the price is just way too soft. What am I running on, the half-hour mark? And yeah, that's why I'm gonna make sure. Because if I do this straight and talk about all these guys, whatever, my first video talking about this will definitely probably run up to an hour because there's still 3 positions to talk about. But let's get to the third, and like I said, this will be a quick run through because there's only a few guys that I'm really, really liking for tight end in the opening of week 1. The most expensive tight end, $8,000, Mark Andrews. Fair price. He didn't get soft price. But you got Hawkinson at 72, and then it drops from there. Kittle's at 68, but once again, Kittle has a tough defensive matchup. Dallas Goedert has a tough matchup on the road against New England at 64. Everybody's looking for Kyle Pitts to, progress at 6,000. He's at home, like I said, against Carolina, but that's a tough matchup. With new weapons around him, it's going to be interesting. Like, it's one of those, when everybody's healthy, you got to at least take a GPP try on Taysom Hill. But like I said, with his running ability, Taysom Hill, tough guy, but Taysom Hill is one of those that it's definitely going to have to be a design run. He's going to have to probably get some goal line touches, whatever. And the thing about Taysom Hill, with no Kamara, I think you can see some packages at least for the first 3 weeks. Like, more than like 3 to 5, which is like a handful of plays that he would normally get. I think Taysom Hill is a solid wild card with no Kamara serving his suspension. Look out. Make sure you work Taysom Hill in a few lineups here and there. That is a pure GPP play. He's at tight end, but with no Kamara, he's going to look to probably take some of those touches. We still have to wait to see who's going to finish number one on the depth chart and start at running back. But until then, look for the first 3 weeks, Taysom Hill to at least be part of a few more packages than usual. Evan Ingram, nice matchup at Indy, 5,800. He's looking to continue off that hot last month of the season last year and going into the playoffs. Then you got the real low price guys. You got Njoku, Gerald Everett, Tyler Higbee, who are all part of their team's offense in certain ways. 56, 55, and 53. This is where I want to go, and I'm going to end it right here. Because after that, you got pretty much long shots and GPP plays. But I'm just going to shorten it up right here and end it at tight end. This is where the video is going to end. One of the shocking early developments in this season, Denver Broncos. At tight end, Greg Dulcich had a solid year. He showed amazing skill set. And that's the type of skill set Sean Payton does use the tight end. Hello, we all remember Jimmy Graham. But he did say this. Even though Dulcich is the playmaker, right now, at this moment as we speak, after week 1, right now, Adam Troutman, who's 4,400, is the starting tight end. He likes Troutman. Yes, he's not the playmaker Greg Dulcich is, but he's the better blocker. With the schemes and the style of Sean Payton's calling, here's a smart GPP play. Either one of these guys. But if you ask me, I would still like Dulcich. I still like Dulcich. They could have Troutman start with a block, shut it, catch it a flat. Greg Dulcich will be more of the Jimmy Graham type to go in the flat, more athletic, kind of jump and get it. But either way, Dulcich at 5,300, Adam Troutman at 4,400, those are GPP plays. That's just something you're going to have to wait and see as the season goes on, as the preseason goes on, how they decide to use these guys. But right now, if you ask me, opposite ends of the field, inside the 20 of their own, and the opposite, it looks like Troutman will be the guy because that's where you're going to probably need more blocking to get the run game going. But in between the 20s, it look like if you was to ask me right now, they jump into the preseason right now, Dulcich would not start at tight end, but he'll be the one getting some packages and getting some big plays down the field. That's the way it seems like they're going to use him. He wants to use both, but like I said, when you're in a new regime and it's a new coach, you were the guy of the last coach. When the new coach comes in, yeah, sometimes he just might adapt like, hey, I love his talent, love his skills. Let me use his skill set to the best of my ability. But right now, Dulcich is second because Sean Payton loves the block and build Adam Troutman. So both guys will be used. It's just something that you got to look out for. But like I said, you can go a little bit. If you're not bottom line with tight end, if you're not paying up for the top two guys, which is Andrews and Hockenson, I think you could skip it all the way down and get to a $5,800 Ingram, who I think is going to be a popular play regardless. Kyle Pitts at home, 6,000, but I don't think he's going to be as old as Evan Ingram, no. And then you got the mishmash of, well, I can't forget him either because he is part of, but like I said, he has a tough matchup. Pat Freiermuth is at 57. I think you skip all that, and those guys who end up may not get a lot of receptions and catches, but can get 2 goal line touchdowns. And Njoku, Everett, Tyler Higbee, and Greg Dulcich, all between 56 and 53. Price-wise, those are damn near free squares. And then, of course, you cannot forget, besides the wide receiver weapons with DJ Moore and whatever they're trying to also add for Justin Fields, Cole Kmet had a solid season last year, and he's all the way at 52. Now, Green Bay does have linebackers that guard the tight end well, but Cole Kmet is, the price is soft. Take advantage of it before these guys get up to 6,000. Cole Kmet last year, he just had a very impressive rookie season. And like I said, with the running in last year's passing attack against Green Bay, throughout the first game against Green Bay, like I said, that offense was just finding its way. He didn't really drop onto the scene until the weekend of Halloween, October 30th, against Dallas with an 8.1, and then had a 19 and a 21 against Miami and Detroit. And then he would just consistently in the offense get 6, 4, 7, 6, 5 targets. And then December 4th against Green Bay last year, 7 targets, 6 receptions, 72 yards, and he scored 10.2 points. And Cole Kmet, even though he got somewhat hot towards the end of the season, he was never a 6. I think he got to the low 6,000s by last year. But Cole Kmet is another low price tag that I think you guys should take a look at. But yeah, this video is running, kind of long. And look at that, didn't even get, so this definitely would have ran into an hour. I didn't even get to the running backs or the defenses, but that'll be part two. I hope you guys like what I feel are right now one of my early top plays for the week. Like I said, still a lot of depth chart adjustments and things like that. We just finished preseason week 1 earlier today. So, like I said, within the next couple of days, look for preseason news. Maybe by the time I get the episode up, things happen where you hear people get cut and things like that. And yeah, part 2 of the week one FanDuel preview should be up at least before week 2 of the preseason starts. So look for it to pop up Wednesday or even Thursday, right before the preseason slate lock. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. This is Great A Fantasy, signing off.